Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a trying new makeup video. I really enjoy filming these first impressions. They're probably my favorite video to film and I feel like you guys really enjoy them. Them and my Sephora hauls you guys seem to view the most. But I wanted to tell you, if you kind of watch these and you think first impressions aren't helping you or you want to see a full review, I will link down below my first impression, first impression final, wow, I can't speak. I will link down below my first impression follow-up videos where I go over 20 products in a video very quickly and I give you my full review whether I think it's so-so, amazing, not good. So if you're interested in more in-depth reviews, I will link those down below. But I love to do these videos because I can show you the products in action. I try to get them up quickly about new hyped makeup because I know you guys want to see how it applies, what it looks like, and hear my initial first thoughts. But if you want to know more in-depth reviews, I will link those other videos down below. Now today we're going to be focusing on some brand new products I'm really excited to try. First is the Jeffree Star Concealer. I know everybody's going crazy over this, wanting to know my thoughts, and also the powder. So I did buy both of these off of Beautylish. I also did buy the Emotion Proof Mascara that Tati has been going crazy over with my order from Beautylish. And then I did get sent the Milk Kush Lash Primer. So we're going to try both of these as well. Also, I've had these and I haven't had a chance to use them. This is the Kevyn Aucoin Glass Glow. This is an illuminator, but I'm going to use it as a primer, see what we can do with that. I also have this Fenty Beauty Bronzer in Island Ting. Now, I have used this a couple times. A couple of these products I have used a handful of times, so I'm going to give you my thoughts as we go. Also, the big dog that everybody wants to know about is the Natasha Denona Biba palette. So we're going to play around with this. I have some other products that I want to keep testing out, which is the Dragon Beauty Brightening Powders. I just got this new blush from Jill Stewart. Can we talk about this packaging? I bought this off of Beautylish as well, and I've been using it. It is beautiful. So I just have a bunch of products to use. I have some more Milk makeup, some more, buxom lip glosses. So we're just going to play around and see what we can come up with. So if you want to see all these new products in action, then let's go ahead and begin. So to moisturize the skin, I'm going to go in with a oldie but a goodie. This is the Beauty Filter Cream Glow from Sun & Park. You can get this at Sephora. This is in my top drawer and it always has been, but I just kind of got pushed to the back and I thought, let me just try this again, just because it's a good staple product. It's like a white, kind of milky consistency, but it has a pink iridescence. So I'm using this as a moisturizer. The one thing I don't like about this is that it is heavily scented, which it's kind of got that, like, I don't know, floral spa-like scent. I wish they would have not included that, but. So the perimeters of my face tend to get dry, and I'm going to try out this new Kevyn Aucoin Glass Glow Face Illuminator in Crystal Clear. I have heard this is literally like glass skin. It has an iridescence to it, and it almost feels like lip gloss. So I'm going to start with a little bit. Oh, wow. I wonder if this is a good idea. So I'm going to take it on the high points of my face. Oh my god, it feels like lip gloss. I try to avoid my T-zone because I will get oily there, but I'm really curious to see how this will sit under makeup. I'm actually more nervous. So I do feel like that gave me a little bit of a glow, but I'm going to go in with my, is this Guerlain Smoothing Active Blurring Base. I bought this a long time ago, and then it kind of got kicked to the back of my collection, so I grabbed it out again, and I've been enjoying it. I use this for my pore area. This smells like sunscreen. I wonder if it has sunscreen in it. It's like a lotion. It's very different than most pore-filling primers. So for foundation, I'm going to use a matte foundation that wears really long on me, and it tends to look good with really dewy primer, so I'm hoping it will work well with the primers I used. This is the Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define. I am going to mix 7 and 10. 10's a little bit deep, but 7 is a little bit light. So I'm just going to use this all over the face. I love this applicator because I don't have to get any on my hands. So I'm just applying 7 to the center of the face. And then I'm going to take 10 and go around the perimeters. So this foundation is a staple for me because it lasts a long time. I would definitely recommend moisturizing your skin if you are combo or even dry. I feel like you can get it to work but you just need to make sure that you're moisturizing heavily. I love this product too because it's just such good coverage so quickly that it doesn't take me a lot of time to get that full coverage look. I'm just adding a little bit more just to make sure that I have a full coverage look. I find this foundation to be very smoothing. It's just a really good foundation. There's been times when I felt like it looked really dry, so I have noticed that I do need to moisturize heavily. It tends to look best when I do dewy primers, you know, dewy setting spray. Moving on to concealer, I did get the shade C6 in the Jeffree Star concealer. The component is definitely Jeffree. It has this star on the top that is quite pointy. I don't really care about packaging as much as the product. I mean, I love good packaging, obviously, but for me, it's more of, does the product work? Now, I've used this, I want to say 3 times now, so I have kind of a general consensus on how I feel about it so far. This is a very thin formula. It is, I would say, medium coverage. I'm sure you could build it, but a little bit goes a long way. And the thing that I like about it being so thin is that it's very smoothing. It doesn't look cakey. I like that it's got enough coverage for me. Like, it's more than the Fenty Beauty, but it's not as much as the Tarte Shape Tape. But it has a very thin formula without being drying, if that makes sense. One of the reasons it stands out to me is because it is so smoothing, and that's something that I look for. A lot of times when I see people bring their foundation, not their foundation, their concealer all the way down here and up, to me, my pores look massive because there's just so much product on there. But I like that this one seems to kind of smooth out, and I think it's because of the thin texture. So I'm gonna go ahead and blend this out, and you can see the coverage. I feel like the shade is a good shade match. It's nice and bright, so I can use it to brighten up. And I don't know if you can see, it just blends very easily. It's not thick at all. So if you're into concealers that are very thin, I'm trying to think of what it reminds me of. It's a little bit different. It's not super creamy either, but it's not drying. It's kind of unique. So this is the kind of coverage you can get from one application. I'm gonna take a tiny bit more and apply it right there where I seem to have that kind of blue. But honestly, most days I would just left it at that one application. This is what it looks like when you build it up. So I feel like it's the right amount of coverage for every day. If you have super dark circles, you may have to correct, which I know he does have correctors. That's not an issue that I have, but the formula is different from most concealers. When I'm thinking of a lot of concealers, they're very thick, like the Huda Beauty or the Tarte, I forget what it's called, but there's like a really thick concealer where it's almost tacky. This is not that. It's also not moussey like the e.l.f. and it's not creamy like the NARS Radiant. It's quite different, I have to say. It's a very thin formula without being drying or tacky. It's very weird. I mean, I feel like when you touch it, there's a little bit of a tack, but it's very thin, and I feel like people that don't set their concealer might not set this. So I'm going to move on to the powder. I picked up the shade Fair. So this I've only used, I think, once now, and this is what the component looks like. Obviously, it's very cute, very Jeffree. Now, the one thing about this is it smells like cotton candy. I am not a fan of like powders that smell, like the Peach Too Faced or the Huda Beauty. I feel like I inhaled this the other day and actually coughed because I was like, oh, like it just hit me. So I don't like the scent just upon using it. Like when you smell it, you're like, oh, that's nice. But when you're actually using it, if you inhale it, it really caught me off guard. Now this is what the inside looks like. It has a nice component that you can cover up. I've had issues in the past with products like the Hourglass powder where I liked it, but it was so hard to get the product out, whereas this comes out nice, but it's not like flying everywhere. So I'm gonna go ahead and set under my eyes and in my T-zone. I am gonna bake a little bit just so I can show you what it looks like. I do not have a ton of thoughts on this powder yet because, as I said, I used it one time, whereas the concealer I've used a handful. So I'm gonna make sure I get all of my creases out, and I'm gonna start applying. So when I have it right up to my face, it smells pleasant, but when I inhale in, it's a lot for me. I felt that way with the Too Faced Peach powder as well. I will say the scent is different than anything I've ever smelled in a powder. It almost is like a toasted cotton candy. So it is pleasant, but if you are sensitive, this is going right around your nose area and you will smell it. I feel like this powder is smoothing and it is very thin. It's not like the Laura Mercier powder. This one, God, it's hard to describe. I'm trying to think. It's almost like a hybrid of the Urban Decay Velvetizer powder and maybe the Cover FX powder. It is very finely milled, but not too finely milled where you can't see it on your face. Obviously, I have it baking. I've had powders where you try to pick it up and it just flies everywhere. This is kind of in between. So I will say that Jeffree does seem to have really innovative products and really kind of innovative formulas. So I actually am going to use this powder to set the rest of my face. I'm just going to do it lightly. So I have a big fluffy brush from Morphe and I'm just going to stamp this into the areas I'm not baking. I don't know if you guys can see, but you know I was talking about that rash? Down here, it's like spreading. It's so weird. I feel like I'm calmed out and I'm not stressing as much, but I have this rash showing up all over my body. Very minimal like this. People were saying maybe shingles. It's not that. I don't know what it is exactly. I'm going to get a second opinion because the person I saw at the dermatologist was a nurse practitioner. I want to go to an actual derm and see somebody, and then if I have to biopsy, I will biopsy, but it's just this weird rash. It's showing up around my bra line and my stomach area, but it's not like big bumps or anything. I don't know if you can see, but I'm just noticing as I'm filming that it seems to be like coming up on my neck. So that's fantastic. I'm gonna move on now with the Milk Kush Fiber Brow in the shade Dub. I've never tried this before. When I opened it, it looks like the Glossier Boy Brow. Is that what it's called? And everybody raves about. So we're gonna go ahead and just use this before we do our brows. Milk sent me over a big package, which I really appreciate. I was actually gonna buy the Kush Primer, Lash Primer. So when I got that package, I was pretty excited. So this seems like the Glossier Boy Brow, but maybe a little bit less intense. The Boy Brow is nice, but it can get kind of messy. So I feel like this worked as it should. It gave me a little bit of a tint. I don't know if it's like blowing my mind, but it's not bad either. It's just very comparable to just anything like the Benefit Gimme Brow or anything like that, so I do like it. I'm going to actually jump off and do my brows quickly, and then we're going to move on to the Biba palette. I swatched, I think, a couple of the shades, but people have been going crazy over Natasha Denona eyeshadow palettes lately. I've been a little bit uninspired by eyeshadow recently, so I want to try this out and see if I think it blends beautifully, if I think it's worth the price. I know her products are super highly priced, so we're going to see if it's worth it. So I did my brows off camera. We're going to jump into the Natasha Denona palette. All right, so I'm going to start on the eyes using the shade Prairie in the crease. So I'm just going to blend this into the crease. Wow, this is pigmented. I mentioned previously that I've been a little bit eyeshadow overwhelmed. I just feel like there's so many palettes out. I really couldn't keep track with them. And most days I'm just doing something pretty minimalistic just because I don't spend 3 hours doing my eyeshadow every day. I know a lot of people have been going really crazy over Natasha palettes. She's been releasing a lot, which is nice, obviously, because people love her brand. But I know that her palettes are expensive. Wow, I cannot speak. I'm sorry. I'm like, look, like I can't get it out. Get it out, girl. I think I'm just so basic with my eyeshadow recently that I'm like, ooh, $100 and some for a palette. But I have to think in terms of if you wear the same colors every day and the formula is phenomenal, then it could be worth it for you to spend the money on a palette because it'll get you through, you know, a whole year if that's your beloved palette. Next, I'm going to jump into the shade Tone. This one looks like it's a satin, and I'm going to use this on the outer corners. We're going to do a kind of, I don't want to say natural. Whenever I say natural, it ends up not being natural, but a neutral look. Obviously, this is a neutral palette. So I'm just going to use this to deepen up the outer edges. So what products have been really speaking to you guys recently? I feel like for me, it's been bronzers. Bronzers and dewy products. Not even necessarily highlighters, but more like dewy setting sprays, bronzers. Those have been really piquing my interest. And I would say the least is eyeshadow palettes. I'm just kind of like, I feel like I have so many and I just can't even use them all. So it's just kind of hard to get super excited about eyeshadow at the moment for me. Going into the shade Rayanne. And again, I'm just going to use this to deepen up this outer part. For the lid, I'm going to go into this shade called Shine. Okay, I'm going to start off with my finger. Yeah, that works a lot better. Just to get down the base of it. I feel like I have such little eyelids. Like I can't ever bring my shimmer out. I feel like I'm always doing a half lid or half cut crease. I can't get it to go further because I just don't have any room. All right, I wet this brush, so I'm just going to try to intensify what I already laid down and kind of get into the areas I couldn't reach. And then I can go back in, just make sure to blend over any areas that I got the shimmer where I shouldn't have. But this is a really natural palette. Even that shimmer doesn't seem very intense. I'm gonna use this color Spot for eyeliner. I don't typically do this, but I wanna try it out. All right, that brush was not working out, so we're gonna try this. By the way, my neighbor's mowing their lawn and it's loud as shit. And I'm taking this little brush and smoking up the outer edge. So I'm wiping away that powder. So before I put on lashes, I want to try out the new Milk Makeup Kush Lash Primer, as well as this Tom Ford mascara. This is what the wand looks like on the primer. Let me give you a close-up. So I'm just going to apply this to one eye. For the VIB sale, I was going to buy this or the Marc Jacobs. I couldn't decide. And then Milk sent me this. So I thought, let me just try this out. Larry's outside weed whacking, so I apologize for that. Alright, so I feel like it really is lengthening. I'm going to go in with the Tom Ford Emotion Proof Mascara. So I want to apply it on top of this primer on one eye, and then we'll just try the mascara alone on the other eye. See if we can see a difference. So here's what the wand looks like on the Tom Ford. If my camera will focus, please do your job. So I'm going to start layering this over that Kush primer. What I'm looking for is it going to add length and volume? Also, is the white going to go away or easily be covered by a mascara? I definitely feel like you can see my lashes. I'm getting a little bit of volume. I wish I would have curled my lashes before. That was my fault, but I feel like it did something. Let's go ahead and try the Emotion Proof mascara on the other side. I was gonna curl them, but then I thought, no, that's not fair because I didn't do it on this side. I will say this is getting pretty gunky. Ooh, that's kind of weird. At the top of this, I'm gonna shake it up and see if I can kind of calm that down. Wonder if you can see. That's a lot of gunk going on for this. So I'm gonna start applying this to the lashes with no primer on. Okay, so here's what I'm noticing. I feel like the Milk Makeup side is more voluminous or thicker, but it also appears gray to me. This side's more black and more wispy. I don't know if I'm loving this, to be quite honest. I really still like my Hourglass. This is pretty messy too. I got it on my face, so I'm just going to let this dry up here and then remove it with a spoolie. That's a nice tip, but I don't know if I'm in love with this, and it was really expensive. I feel like it's fine, but it's messy to apply and I'm not wowed. So I quickly popped on some lashes. These are Salon Perfect 663. They just sent me some new lashes to try. It's like their lash extension line. So I will link these down below if they're available, but I like them. They're pretty dramatic, but not like thick. They don't have that thick band. To bronze up the skin, I'm going in with my Fenty Beauty Island Ting Bronzer. This is pretty deep, but I feel like it blends beautifully and it just works. It gives me a nice glow, especially, or not a glow, a nice bronze, especially when I have self-tanner on freshly, which I did last night. So I'm gonna focus this on the perimeters of my skin. This powder is so smooth. It's really unique. And it is matte, which usually a lot of bronzers I feel like lately especially have like a satin finish. So I like to apply quite a bit, and then you can take a big brush with some product on it, like a foundation brush or a powder brush. And I really just like to kind of blend it in so it looks more seamless. I just went ahead and contoured my nose, and then I used my Scott Barnes powder and petal just to really clean up the sides. Also going to use a little bit under that bronzer. For blush, I'm going to go into this Jill Stewart Blend Blush Blossom in the shade 2. I'm going to mix both of these. I've actually been really enjoying this. It's really, really pretty. For highlight, I want to go into this Natasha Denona Bloom palette into the Glow Extreme. Okay, I'm going to jump into the shade down here called Seed. I'm going to use this on the lower lash line. This is one of my favorite brushes for the lower lash line. Sometimes I feel like I can't get my lower lash line to really smoke out or be dark, and I think it's because I powder it so heavily that I feel like powders don't stick, and this is a brush that helps me. This is a Smith 220. And then you can take your blending brush and lightly sweep over to kind of blow this out. Jumping back into Spot, I'm taking this right close to the lash line. So now I'm going to wipe away that powder. To highlight down the nose, I like to use a really bright shade, so I'm going to mix these two from the Dior palette because I feel like the Natasha Denona one may be a little bit too deep. So I like to apply it and then kind of run my finger over it just to blend up. And then a little bit on the nose and the Cupid's bow. I'm going to take a little bit of the Dragon Beauty yellow shade. I actually do like this powder, but I also like lately the Scott Barnes. They're very similar in the way that they apply. So I'm just using this to really brighten up. For lips, I want a line, which is a neutral liner. This is NARS in Harris. Not sure how you say it, but it's a neutral brown. I want to go in with a colorful lip today, I think. So I just like to line first to see where I'm going to put lipstick. So I want to try something different. I'm going to go in with this L'Orange Rouge Essential Silky Cream lipstick from Laura Mercier. And then over that, I want to go in with Buxom Mykonos Sunrise Lip Cream. I don't think this is going to show up. I think it's a little too... Ooh. Alright guys, so here is the finished makeup look, and I'm going to go over each product and give you my thoughts. So I'm going to start out with the Kevyn Aucoin Glass Glow Face Primer or Illuminator. It's not a primer, but that's what I used it as. I feel like it was really tacky, but my makeup went over it nicely. I think this is more of a product you want to use on top of your makeup, or if you're someone that uses a lot of cream products. I'm going to keep playing around with it, but I was a little bit nervous today just because I was doing like this full glam. I didn't want to put it on top of powders and ruin the look, so I'm gonna play around with this some more. My makeup did go over it nicely, so I'll keep playing around and I'll let you guys know in a future video my thoughts. Moving on to the Jeffree Star Concealer, I really like this. I like it a lot when I use it every day with my powder foundation. If you're more of a natural makeup wearer, I think you'll really like this. Now you can definitely build this up to be intense if you like full glam, but I still prefer like the Tarte Shape Tape. I'm really enjoying the Too Faced Born This Way. I recently got a new shade and it's working beautifully for me for full glam, but I like how thin this is and how smoothing it is on the pore area. This is one that I pull way down, or I can pull way down, and then use powder on the rest of my face. So I do recommend this, even though I know you don't get a lot for the price. I feel like you don't need a lot. The powder I do like. I don't know if I'm losing my mind over it. The scent kind of, like I said, chokes me up a little bit. So I do like it, but it's not replaced, you know, any other powders that I have on hand. I think it's a good, nice setting powder. It doesn't grab, it doesn't get cakey, but I don't think that it's impressing me as much as the concealer. If you're in between one or the other, I would recommend picking up the concealer. Fenty bronzer is an absolute yes. I've already made an order to pick up another one. I just feel like these are so beautiful, and if you go too heavy-handed, just take a fluffy powder brush and blend over it. These are so thin and smoothing. They don't grab, but they're matte, but they still give you like this, I don't know, you just look sun-kissed. Usually, as I said, I go for a satin bronzer because I want that really glowy look. Something about this works. I usually don't love a matte bronzer, but this one is impressing me. And even though Island Ting is for lighter, or not lighter, darker skin tones, it works for me well, so really like it. Also really enjoying the Dragon Beauty transformation face powder. I use this a lot just to touch up. This would be something that I would use in my T-zone if I feel like I'm looking oily, so I do recommend this as well. I know this is random, but Jill Stewart, love this blush duo. It's beautiful. I've been using it a lot. Super pigmented. The packaging is super cute. In terms of the Tom Ford mascara, I'm a little bit iffy. I've used it twice now, and I just felt like it was a little bit sloppy. It kind of got all over my lid, and I don't think that it's better than my Hourglass Caution. I'll keep using it, but I'm a little bit disappointed because it was really expensive. I'm like, why did I buy that? The Milk Makeup Kush Lash Primer, I feel like it did a lot for length and volume, but it did leave a gray cast. Now it could just be this mascara. I'll keep playing with both of these separately and see what I think, but yeah, I don't know. I'm not loving the Tom Ford. The Natasha Denona Biba palette, I really like it, blended beautifully, but I feel like it's a little bit more subdued. This is for like the everyday consumer. The shimmer wasn't as intense as I was anticipating, but I feel like if you want a palette you're going to use every single day for every look, if you're somebody that is like me, you're not going to events, you're not going, you know, to, you know, Hollywood or Miami, you're just kind of like going to work, going to Target, going to Panera, you know what I'm saying, like a normal everyday person, I feel like you would get a lot of use out of this because it is neutral toned. This is just a lot of mattes with a few shimmers, so I feel like this is just a minimalist palette. You can take it smoky, but it's not going to be, you know, glitter and all of that. It's very, you know, kind of satin matte formulated, so I do like it. It's not like my favorite palette I've ever tried, but I feel like the look came out beautiful. It's just so pricey, it's hard for me to like really envision myself telling you to go spend $130 because I do have other palettes that I enjoy just as much that are less. So it's really up to you, but I feel like if you really love the color scheme in here and you think you're gonna wear it every single day, I think it might be worth it for you. And then finally, I have been enjoying these Laura Mercier lipsticks. I don't think that they're anything crazy, like they're not blowing my mind, but they are nice. They're creamy, but they don't seem to slip around. I've had this on for maybe half hour now and I'm not noticing any sliding. I'm a little bit wary of wearing bright colors like this in a bullet. So I'm more of a liquid lipstick girl with the bright colors, but I do like the shade range on here. There's a bunch of different bright colors. And then I have been really enjoying this Mykonos lip gloss. It's pretty clear on top of this, but if I put it over a nude lip, it gives me like that really pretty creamsicle look. So really enjoyed these. These are a staple product. So that is everything for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I try to do a bright lip because I know I'm always on that nude life. Let me know down below if there's any products that you want me to try out in a video coming up, or you want me to keep testing and get my full thoughts on specifically. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.